right, we're live.
Awesome.
Everybody get in here. A few minutes. Hopefully everybody's night is great. I'm in Toronto, so it's 9 p.m. and it was raining all day, so Jeff, is it pretty cold there?
You don't want to know, mate.
I know it's supposed to get 22 on Friday here. So
yeah, well, good. Congratulations. I'm super stoked for you. Yeah, we're going to be in it for a bit.
Wow. All right. It looks like.
How do we do? Did anybody show up?
Yeah, we got 40 on right now, and it rained all day in Halifax. Wow. Actually, my son was just in Halifax. Who is this? It's Peter. Peter was saying, yeah, interested in going to school there. So excited. All right, well, let's get started. Thank you so much for everybody coming. Let me. Sorry, guys. Already screwing it up. All right. Thanks so much, everybody, for coming tonight. Excited to have Geoff Snider with us. My name is Mike Weaver, and we'll get started here. So the real reason why I created CoachThem is that I just found it very, very tedious to go draw drills as a sports coach. We're completely a web-based platform. It was created by me personally, and we have over 40,000 coaches. So we're trying to go and make coaching as easy as possible. My name is Mike Weaver, playing the NHL for 13 years, 15 years pro. I have over 600 games, and I was always looking for my post-career job. And this is basically the beginning of CoachThem. I created a hockey school. I found it very difficult to go and draw drills, drawing the same drill over and over again. So when I ended up going to the Florida Panthers, Rob Tellis, the goalie coach, ended up saying we're in the NHL and we're still drawing drills on a piece of paper. So CoachThem was created. And it's an amazing partnership with ELEV8 Lacrosse. And Jeff, I'm going to tell you, we do not have something like this for hockey. And it's phenomenal just even listening to even our first couple of conversations of what you guys are doing there. I think it's just phenomenal. So yeah, we're excited about our partnership.
It's awesome. We are as well. I guess a little bit about me for those who don't know me who are on the call. My name is Geoff Snider. I played 19 seasons of pro lacrosse between the NLL and the MLL, which is now the PLL. I was a two-time world champion, played with the Canadian national team from 2006 until 2018. Had various accolades throughout the NLL and junior. Most recently was inducted in the Canadian Lacrosse Hall of Fame, and spent the better half of my career developing ELEV8 Lacrosse in preparation for what I was going to be doing after the sport. I wanted to stay in the sport and had a business degree and had a passion for working in youth sports and elite level programming. To this day, I'm still a coach with the U20 men's national team program. Most recently won the 2025 World Championship for the first time with Canada in Jeju, South Korea this past summer. So a little bit of experience coaching at a high level. A little bit about ELEV8 Lacrosse. We're really the first, fully vertically integrated lacrosse program in the world, which means from the time that you touch a stick and are introduced to the sport to the time that you are playing professionally, you can be involved in our program. And we're super proud about that. We focus a lot on, and we mentioned elite development. Everybody starts new. And so we're trying to adjust that to, make sure we're catering to all different ages, sizes, shapes, skill levels. But we coach at a very high level and demand at a very high level with the standards in our programming. We care deeply about lacrosse IQ and leadership. The three pillars of our program are character, culture, and compete. And we apply that on the floor, and we also apply that off the floor in terms of our operations as an entity. Why we are created, what we did and why we created is we saw a need for higher level coaching. I think in Calgary, it's a smaller market. There's not a ton of players that have played and coached at a high level that reside here in Calgary. We had a vision for expanding the sport and growing the sport and wanted to put that into action, and have expanded to running a classroom lacrosse program that sees over 30,000 kids a year, elite box and field lacrosse development, and coaching mentorship. We work with coaches here in the community and offer NCAA guidance for players and their families. We'll kick it back to you, Mike, and we'll dig into it.
Yeah, well, excited. Let's see here. Okay, so I'm in Toronto. Everything is all about hockey here, and it's slowly. I find that a lot of the coaches are really not prepared. And then basically, but from what you're seeing, what's the reality of volunteer coaching right
now? Yeah, I think it's a different animal. I think in Canada, everybody's got hockey experience. If you don't have hockey experience, it's probably pretty rare in our part of the world. And I think the biggest challenge really in our neck of the woods from a coaching perspective is just knowledge and understanding of the sport and its deliverables that you're providing to an association. I'm sure I know that we've talked in terms of how we're progressing through our relationship and what we're going to be offering and providing to folks. But if right now I haven't played hockey in almost 30 years now. But I could go out and draw a breakout, right? I could tell you how to break a puck out. I could tell you how to set up an offense. I can tell you how to cycle. I can, run a power play. We could do all that because it's ingrained in us. And I think the biggest challenge is having, because lacrosse is not played in at the level as it is in Ontario or potentially British Columbia, is our neck of the woods is having an understanding of those systems and how to apply them confidently, and then having easy access to that, which I think CoachThem has really offered for us, is being able to provide great opportunity to have a bunch of information in a simple and easy location where you can get an understanding of what we're looking to do. So the biggest challenge, to answer your question directly, is I just think a deep understanding of the sport and the confidence to provide that deliverable. I'm not sure if you see that on the hockey side, but that's a big component for us, is to be able to pass on that information effectively and efficiently.
I find with hockey, that everybody does the drills that their coaches did to them when they were younger. And it's in the game of hockey and lacrosse has evolved so much. And in doing those drills back then, they're not the same drills as today. We do a lot of little small area games and smaller little station drills to get more puck touches and whatnot. And based on, I love one of the biggest things is like Wayne Gretzky was a great hockey player, but not a great coach. And it's funny, all these coaches are they're very well intentioned in what they want to do. Like obviously, if they're not coaching their kid, who's going to coach? So they're put in the position that they have to get in there. So basically, why are so many well-intentioned coaches are still they still feel unprepared?
Yeah, I think we talk about that all the time. You know, we list off our accolades and we talk about who we are and what we've won and the teams that we played for. And I agree with you. Like being a great player does not make you a great coach, and it's something that you need to learn. And I think um, it's really just experiential in nature. I think what differentiates us is, you know, we've taken a lot of the experiences that we've had as players, and tried to include all of those interactions positively with coaches in our programming. And then conversely, is we've had a lot of bad experiences too. I've had a lot of coaches that were really hard on us, and we love those coaches, but we've also had some bad experiences as well. So I think the tenure of probably the depth of participation is a big component to that, but also really understanding an environment and what makes a great practice. For us, you know, it's constant movement. I think when we look at, when we're in the business of sport, I think you really look at, you know, the environment that you're creating and providing for families and athletes that are participating. And you know, we have rules with our program, and a couple of those are, you know, we talk about selling the car ride home, and what that means is you know, a kid gets into the car and there isn't an opportunity for a, you know, a scathing conversation on the way home from a parent, because that athlete is talking about their experience the whole ride home. I did this, I did that, coach mentioned this to me, and they're just so engaged with the sport. Or you know, they get into the car and they're so exhausted that they, you know, they're asleep before they leave the parking lot. And I think that correlates into being a good coach, is understanding the environment that you want to produce, but also having the confidence to produce that environment. And so, you know, what makes a good coach these days is someone who's organized and structured and you know, puts together an environment that is engaging and you know, free flowing, in the sense that it's you know, there's no real downtime, no one's standing around. So your comment of, you know, small battle drills and mini games and you know, filling up a practice time with a massive amount of productive information, where, you know, they're learning without actually sitting on a board, and demonstrating and actually executing, we feel, you know, is a massive skill to have in that setting.
I'm going to say on this call right now, we're going to have some parents, we're going to have possibly kids, we're going to have association heads, director of development, and I'm going to say that I can't relate it to lacrosse, right? But from me, being in associations in Toronto, it's ridiculous. There's the associations that are coach driven. So basically, they're given that team, and don't talk to anybody else the whole entire year. It's their team, and then they come back at the end of the year and they're like, oh, okay, how'd you do? But you have the development driven associations, and that is one thing that when we first had our meeting, it was amazing what you guys are doing. You're actually getting all the coaches on the same page. You guys are figuring out what the weaknesses are. You have a clear structure and everything. We don't have that in Canada, in Toronto for our teams. I wish that we had an entity like you in Toronto to do this, because it's
Appreciate that.
crazy what you guys have been able to do.
Yeah, I think you know, in terms of identifying what's going on, and this is all purely driven around you know, there's a saying, there's a call to action all of the time in lacrosse, and everybody, you know, has this, they refer to it as, they say grow the game, which is, to us, it's like a finger point, right? It's like, you do something about it. And for us, we always reference growing the game, and I think a big part of that is, we need, in this sport, we need volunteers and passionate volunteers. And there's amazing people all over the country that are passionate and you know, very you know, drawn to the sport of lacrosse, primarily because it is a little niche, but it's an amazing community. And you know, in that, we need to make sure that we have people that are passionate about digging into the game and delivering the game on a community level and on an elite level and everything in between. For us, what we identified as an issue was driving that continuity within associations. So as an example, we work with 3 associations here in Calgary right now with our coaching mentorship program. We go in boots on the ground. We're bringing volunteers out onto the floor, teaching them how to play the game, teaching them the basic skills. So, if you're a soccer mom or a hockey dad, or you were a skier or like whatever sport you played, you're an athletic individual that wants to give back and wants to get involved, or you haven't played sport at all, you want to be out there and you want to deliver the messaging in an appropriate fashion. So, it's really hard to teach a kid how to pick up a ground ball and how to pass and catch if you don't know how to do it yourself. So we get hands-on with the coaches here in the community. We get them out in large groups. We work with them on the skill components. We work with basic beginner skills. We work with advanced skills. And then we dig into the continuity of the terminology. So it's unified across the association. You don't have one person calling, a transition play or a breakout one thing and somebody else calling it another. We put together a number of different components for the volunteer coaches so that they're all on the same page and unified, throughout the course of their child's career. I think one of our biggest success stories, we've been working with the Hornets now here in Calgary for 15 years. It was our home association, and our initial goal was to take this through from when you started coaching your young player in U7, and you followed them all the way to U17, that you would have coaches available for you that were unified. And we accomplished that goal, and it's been an incredibly successful partnership, which has expanded now to multiple other associations. So the continuity and the message that's being delivered to provide these coaches the opportunity to learn and grow with the association, and then be boots, they're boots on the ground. They're the business developers for your association. If we do a great job of introducing the sport to young people, collectively as a community, people get involved, and then the goal is to retain them so that they have a great experience in the sport throughout their youth. And the people that are doing that are the volunteer coaches that are out there delivering the game on a day-to-day basis. So that is, at its core, what we attempted to remedy, and it's been very successful to date, and we're super proud of the relationships that we've developed here in Calgary and surrounding areas. So in terms of hockey, I don't know what your experience is like, but I imagine there's just so many unique and affluent people in the affluent from a knowledge perspective in the hockey community, that it might be harder to wrangle people in that setting. I think that we're small enough and we're young enough where the sport hasn't grown and surpassed the ability to get buy-in on what that means to collectivize the ideology in some of these community associations, to provide a better experience for the participants and the families as a whole. Like, what do you see with that on the hockey side?
Oh, we don't have that. Like, we don't have any of that. We have it might be an association that might get a skills coach that would come out, and anybody that's able to make it comes out to it. There might be I cannot say one thing, because you have your development 1 course that's for all coaches, right? And it's a basic thing that's showing them how to go and design a proper practice plan. But yeah, we just don't. They have the next level up too. They have that as well. But other than that, we don't have that. So it's basically people relying on previous coaches that have coached them, and they're just basically regurgitating exactly what they were saying. So it's yeah. I love everything you're doing, and why don't you kind of explain really quick how you've used CoachThem to go and provide this to all the coaches within the association, so they're able to stay on the same page.
Yeah, you bet. So a big part of this, we got a number of requests early on to put together like playbooks and drill books, and for us, it was, in terms of having a place that we could do this, we've always wanted to execute on that, but have outside of like publishing a manual or putting something like that together, it was very time consuming and incredibly challenging, as there's iterations and things are changing all the time. We came across CoachThem, and that's when we initially reached out. And what now that has done for us is when we go in and we have multiple services that we offer to communities. So associations will use our classroom lacrosse program for us to go out, and they sponsor school residencies around the community, which is great. So we dig in, we go introduce kids to the sport on behalf of the association. We share information for them about where to get involved. We care deeply about the experience that the kids are having in the school system. They get interested and want to sign up at the association level. So perfect. So now what we saw was, okay, well, now we have a responsibility to those families that are digging into this to enhance their experience alongside the association. So we offered up the coaching mentorship program, which we discussed earlier. And then on top of that, now there's a demand and a desire to have more information available for these coaches. And originally our idea was, you're a coach, you're digging in, you're committing to coaching. This is a part of coaching. You need to go out and fill in those blanks. But the reality around it is that people have very busy lives. I think more so now than ever, people's time is valuable. And so when we leaned into the opportunity with working with CoachThem, it allowed us the opportunity to essentially put out, I think we've got 200 iteration of drills on the platform already, but we've also got 100 plus variations of different drills that we've allocated to different age groups. There's obviously those can move between age groups depending on the skill level and structure, but we've gone as far as to use the tool to diagram what we're looking to accomplish. We've described the why of why we're doing this specific drill and what it's looking to accomplish in your practice. And then we filmed the vast majority of the drills with drone footage, so you can actually see how the drill should be implemented in your practice as well. So an incredibly powerful tool for us to convey the information. Alongside of that, with the coaching mentorship program that we offer, we outline our drill library. We break out the percentage of practice that you should be associating to every skill set or every component of practice, and how you want to structure your practice based on your skill level. So if you're a U17 A team, you're gonna work on 20% of your practice is going to be on stick work and fundamentals. 60% of your practice might, as you progress through the season, again, it changes in variation based on your segments throughout the season, but you'll focus on systems drills and strategy and components that you're going to implement in gameplay. The last 20% of your practice is going to be your man up, man down, and structured on some fun, and you do a shootout at the end of practice, or you do something that ends practice on a lighter manner. And so what CoachThem has allowed us to do is take all of that, bundle it, and then have our information that's alongside that, outlining what coaches need to implement with respect to their practice designations. And so it's really checked a massive box for us, and then allowed us to, if we're going back to that call to action of actually growing the game, sharing our information with the people that are on the platform to be able to come in and utilize our service, get access to our information, and then alongside we assist in helping them deliver the game within their respective associations. So it becomes a very powerful tool to share the information, deliver the information, and ultimately provide a great experience for the people that are electing to participate in the sport on any level.
Well, I'm going to say it's fine to go and have those X's and O's, and you go around this pylon, do that. But I'm going to say the one thing that you guys that stood out for me was that you're teaching the coaches how to go and coach that, how to go
Yes.
and right, and it's way more than just a bunch of plans. It's a full from from teaching a structure to giving them the practice plan, but then going and teaching them how to go and teach it to the players.
Exactly. Yeah, it's I think that's the thing that's when I reference the Hornets, we've been working with them for 15 years. Like, this isn't something that is just like you flip a switch and overnight and it's done, and you've plugged into the matrix and now you have all the information. It's a work in progress continually, and I think we take that on as coaches as well. Like, me as a 29-year-old coach is very different from me as a 45-year-old coach, and so going out and teaching these coaches and having that tenure, year over year over year, you get to expand on skill sets and you get to expand on ideology. And once you've balanced out the original framework, as we continue to progress in the associations that we're in, we get a lot of new coaches, but now we've got coaches that have been there for 3, 5, 8 years. We have to adjust, and we have to make changes so that we're providing new information for them in theory and skill set. So yeah, we're boots on the ground. We're teaching them we're teaching a lot of basics and fundamentals. Lacrosse is a little different. Like, you're playing at the level that you played in the NHL, you got pretty proficient at puck handling, I imagine. But if you can't pass and catch, you can't play lacrosse. And so, teaching the proper mechanical fundamentals and the controlled variables and how your stick throws and what you should be looking for when you're delivering this information to your kids is what becomes really powerful for the coaching staff when you're on the ground with them, because those fundamental things are paramount in the sport of lacrosse, and they're also paramount for the confidence of the kids that you're coaching. If you can pass and catch and play lacrosse, you can. The reason why I went into lacrosse from hockey was I was a terrible puck handler. I was great at spending time in the penalty box and great at blocking shots, but I didn't have the softest hands. And lacrosse, sort of gave me that ability once I figured out how to manage a ball and a stick. And so the control that's associated to that delivers a ton of confidence. And that in turn goes back to the person that's delivering that message. So teaching that stuff fundamentally, applying it to understanding and seeing the drills, not only on paper, but in a live video format, understanding of the why of the deliverable, and then having us come in and be available to work with the coaches and articulate how to execute these things really becomes a powerful deliverable in youth sport. And CoachThem has been absolutely instrumental in us being able to expand, what we're doing on the ground floor, actually working with coaches. So, that's one thing that we love about this partnership is we're able to get creative and able to continue to advance not only our own education, but the education of people that we're passing that information on to.
Mm-hmm. And also, so everybody that's on the call here, you're able to go and post questions on there. So Kevin ended up going and asking you to come to Toronto or maybe Aurora. So
yeah, we'd happily. We've been all over. We've been up all over the province into Grand Prairie. We've been to Fort Mac. We're always willing to get moving and work with associations around the country. And a big part of what this partnership has helped us do is provide some tangible resources to associations, and be able to go in and work with groups regardless of their skill set or their pedigree, to be able to share our coaching message and share the information that we've taken in over the past 20 years of coaching the sport at essentially every level. So it's something that we'd be more than willing to do. We'd love to.
Perfect. And we still have a few more minutes, so anybody that's on this call, feel free to go and post a question. Geoff's here to go and answer anything right now, and we're really excited to have any associations that you guys are a part of. For sure, obviously, go and talk to them and maybe reach out to Geoff first to figure out capabilities and for that. But I'm really excited that we're able to get a few people interested and few people interested in seeing the possibilities, because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to base on our our relationship here, we're trying to go and expand and have Elevate Lacrosse be able to touch more associations and expand the great sport of lacrosse. Now, if any association fully buys into this approach, what changes that?
Yeah, I think the buy-in is on a couple of different levels. I go back to the decision when we went through COVID. I think we saw a real shift in youth team sports to it really kicked off looking at individual sports, or tons of people got into golf, or people moved away from different things just based on being forced to do so. For us, I think this is really about the value add that you're providing to the membership in an association. So, you know, as MPOs, which the majority of associations, youth sports associations are in the country, there's a mandate to return value to the membership. And you can go out and buy hoodies and sweatshirts and do sticks and do all sorts of stuff for teams. And I think for us, in terms of the installation of associations and the opportunity for them to add value to their membership, that's where we're really passionate about that. All of our relationships that are set up, it's not like, hey, this program's going to cost you X amount of dollars. All of the relationships that we set up are structured based on the number of teams that they have. So we want there to be as many teams as possible. We want them to be there to be a lot of teams, because that's correlated to the relationships that we develop with the association. So if an association is declining in its number of teams, that's not something that we want. We want them to keep growing their number of teams, because we want to work with as many players as possible, as many teams as possible, and that's how our structure works when we work with those various groups. So for us, we have a great deal of pride in our brand and who we are. We want to do an amazing job. We want to retain people in the sport. We want to go and be able to, alongside and in a collaborative fashion, work with associations so that they can continue to provide value for their membership, so that the people that are coming, that are playing the sport, are going to come back the following year, because they know that the association is investing in those resources. So for us now, it's expanded to, hey, we want to get this messaging out for coaches prior to the season. As many people who are involved with youth sports, it's like, you start drinking in lacrosse specifically. It's like, okay, registration opens in mid-February, and we start collecting registrations, and then all of a sudden we turn on the taps and we're drinking from a fire hose from April until June. And there's not a lot that can get done in that period of time, because the association's focused on making sure that everything's running smoothly. For us, we've now offered our efforts in terms of our design and our creative to make sure that people know about what's going on, and know that the association is providing tangible resources and opportunities for them to learn how to coach, to attract excellent people to come into the association, because they know that the association is giving back and committed to adding value to the volunteers that are in turn participating. So that's what's to expect there.
Andrew ended up saying that he ended up using CoachThem, and he said, thank you so much for the platform. It was a big reason he was able to win Zone 4.
There you go.
COTY, Cody? What is that? Zone 4? Anyways, he ended up going and asking this after. As I say, used it, but would an entire association start to begin using it? How do I get an association wide to buy in?
Well, yeah. So we, when we go out and do this, we haven't put this into a place where, in terms of our correlation to CoachThem, is we go in association wide. And for us, it's just getting us on a call and presenting to the association. We're happy to do it, and to share the why. And I think that is, in terms of the continuity of what the brand is, and I don't think we talk about that enough in youth sports, is what is your brand, right? What does your association sort of stand for? And in terms of what we ask all the time when we talk to the association is, what brand of lacrosse do you want to play? I know what brand I want to play. I want to play a transition brand of lacrosse that is run and gun, and that changes from place to place. So we can get into the association, get under the hood, talk to them about why this is a collective buy-in makes sense. And we've dealt with that. We've got in Calgary here right now, in the Sabercats Association, we've got ex-NLLers that are still there. We've got guys that are involved in the NLL and coaching. But those are one guy. I reference the guy with the Sabercats. He's a firefighter here in town. He's got 4 kids. He doesn't have time to hit all of the components of the association collectively. So, he's a great asset to have in there, but we go and collectivize this amongst the group. And now there's a collective buy-in. And as a kid, we focus a lot on the kids that, the U17A teams are the kids that are at the highest level. We focus a lot on those kids, but then there's U17A, there's B, there's C, and all of those kids that are in that association have different goals or different objectives and why they're playing the sport. Some are there to win, some are there to just have fun and play a recreational game. And then all the way down to the U7 age group, it's, those are the future customers and people that are buying into the association over a long-term period of time. You want to make sure that they have all the resources to stay invested in the association as well. So everything in between, ideally you want to have everybody on the same page and using the resources to collectivize the experience for the longevity of the individual participant that is electing to sign up and register that year. So it really is a bit of a sales component, but we're happy to jump in and help an association understand why this is beneficial for them.
Which would be the first step to taking your association to the next level. I'm going to say if we had that in any of our associations to help out coaches that thought they knew what they were doing, right? And it's something that if you don't go and it's almost like math. If you don't go and teach them at the right time to know what addition is, right? And all of a sudden the next year they're expected to know that. It's a lot of responsibility of a coach to go and teach the right skills at the right time. And it's the inexperienced coaches really do hurt growth of players, and getting them taught the right way in order to go and teach this is obviously what you guys do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, there's one consistent message I think that is the common denominator in all of these associations is that I don't think that there's a person no one gets involved in coaching youth sports that has ill intentions. Everybody wants to get in there and give back and provide, the opportunity to work with, or they're provided the opportunity to work with kids and make an impact. The most impactful people that I've met in my life are all primarily coaches. I still stay in touch with my midget AAA hockey coach who went to the Air Canada Cup and lost in triple overtime. And, he's arguably one of my best friends now. He was 35 when he was coaching me and I was 18 years old and we're really close. And so, those things are all very consistent. And I think there's a mandate from the associations to be able to provide those, incredible volunteers the opportunity to deliver, information to their players out of the preservation of the association and the sport as a whole. Let's give people tools to be able to accomplish the goals of why they're even signing up for the association in the first place. It's either to, it's parents that are getting involved to help their kids because their kids love the sport. I can't imagine, I'm not a parent, but I can't imagine there's anything more powerful than your son or daughter coming to you and saying, Mom, Dad, I want to go play this. I want to do this. And that must be really exciting as a parent. And so I can understand the ideology of wanting to make sure that you're creating opportunity and avenues to help your young person stay involved in the game. And that's where this all sort of comes back to for us is growth of the sport and preservation of the sport by offering and sharing information to people that are interested in soaking it up. And, we have a mandate to make sure that stuff is fresh and it's innovative and it's new. And we're utilizing the technology such as CoachThem to be able to, to provide and share that on a broader spectrum for people that are interested in taking it on.
Mm-hmm. And we've had a few people ask in the chat about box lacrosse and field lacrosse. Yes, CoachThem has both of them on there, and they're just go. There's a 10-day free trial. You could go and check it out, and it would allow you to go and get access to all the marketplace drills there. I think it's close to 2,000 drills now on there, and but what Geoff brings to the associations is a wealth of knowledge, being able to go and teach the coaches in person, and also they have all their, how many drills do you have, you're saying?
Oh God, box related, we're over 200 iterations right now, specifically for our programming that we operate in. And this isn't stuff that we've just kind of made up. This is stuff that we're like actively using and continue to evolve.
Yeah.
So, the challenge is that, like we want to have quality information on there. We want to have applicable information. And so we're constantly refining and editing and pulling stuff up, taking stuff down, making sure that what we have in our offering is conducive to what we're doing on a daily basis as we coach in the sport full time. So, it's constantly evolving and constantly changing, and we got a great team, putting that stuff together. And again, even taking it from the drill to the why we're doing the drill to the the video component of what you're actually looking for and what it should look like. This is all stuff that we've implemented on our own and are executing on our own and continue to refine.
Well, thanks, Geoff. It was amazing, obviously, to get on a call with you.
Absolutely.
Let everybody else know what we got going on with our partnership. Anna ended up messaging in the chat. So if anybody has any questions, you could reach out to info@ELEV8 Lacrosse. So Ella, so ELEV, the number 8.
Lacrosse.com.
Lacrosse.com, or you could get in touch with support@coachthem.com, and we could go and make the intro to Geoff. So, yeah, well, thanks so much, Geoff. We really had a great time, and looking forward to seeing great things, and possibly you come to Aurora.
Absolutely. Well, and thank you to everybody who took the time to join us tonight. I think one point to mention is, this is our first one, so we appreciate everybody taking the time to come and join us tonight, and look for more information as we continue to dig into this process. I think we can get a little bit more in depth moving down the line as we move forward. And I think, thanks to everybody coming out to watch, come and listen to a couple of old professional bums talk about their business endeavors. So we appreciate taking the time to join us tonight, and thank you so much for everybody who's taken this in.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Geoff.
You got it. Thank you.
All right.
Bye.